I'm just going to call it right now. The Elite is the ones that are going to be turning heel. I can feel it. Or maybe it's just going to be Kenny. What's up, everybody? Eric here from That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in to the AEW post show for September 2nd, 2020. I can't believe it is already September. This has just been a very, very strange year. We are coming up on actually 1 year of That's Wrestling existing. Actually, the show post All Out, we will be doing one on Sunday, though I don't know the time. We haven't nailed that down yet. That will be 1 year since I started doing this show. We were doing this a little later than normal because I was supposed to have Justin on. Dustin could not make it this week. Dustin said he was going to be late, but it looks like I'm going to be going solo. So what is up, everybody? Eric here from That's Wrestling. If you are tuning in on a podcast, just to let you know, we do this show live over on YouTube. So definitely check out the YouTube channel. The link is in the description. And if you hit the bell notification, that will let you know as soon as I schedule a live stream, because we did have to push this one back a couple hours, but I guess it didn't work out anyways. And especially for New Japan stuff, that is always all over the place. I think I'll be doing a show on Saturday. I just need to figure out what time to cover the show in Jingu Stadium, plus the running up King of Pro Wrestling qualifiers, I guess they were. So I'll be talking about those, I think, on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. So let's get into this. I think that what is actually going to happen, it is not going to be Hangman turning. It's not going to be just Kenny turning. I think the Young Bucks are going with him. We are going to see the entire Elite. That would be very strange to have a heel match. So, is this to push off Young Bucks versus FTR even further out than what we think? It's probably not going to be in full gear in November. Are they going to go all the way out to Revolution next year in like February, or are we talking like Double or Nothing next year by the time we see FTR versus Young Bucks? And at that point, do we see it as a heel matchup, or does FTR slowly run back babyface, or what? I don't know. Maybe even out that far, we might be seeing a heel Kenny Omega against a face Hangman Page for maybe the title for the AEW Championship. I am not sure where this is all going. They continue to bring this storyline along, and from some of the listening that I've done throughout the day today, it's been a very mixed bag as far as it goes with Hangman's position. I, for one, don't have an issue where his character is right now. There is the argument to be made is, are you supposed to be for him or against him? He's kind of like in the middle right now, and I think that is perfectly fine. I mean, in the story of life, there are people who run in the gray area. Eventually, you're going to fall on one side or the other. And Hangman Page, right now, his character is in a lot of internal torment, I guess, and having those doubts about himself, and he's just a really, really conflicted character. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it is within the pro wrestling landscape different. You usually want to have somebody that you are definitely going to be cheering for or definitely booing for, but in this case, I am perfectly fine with this sort of storytelling because he is a conflicted character, and I don't know. I kind of feel bad for him. Some people are saying they feel bad for him. Some people are mad at him. And then we have the Bucks. Obviously, they are having some issues with Hangman Page because of what he did to them last week. So let's get into this show. We did have Excalibur back on commentary, and we start off the show with Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends. And as Santana and Ortiz are coming out, the Best Friends do not wait for themselves to be introduced. They attack right away, and we basically have a massive brawl here on the outside. They are doing moves on the floor. We have Trent diving off the stage onto Santana or Ortiz at one point, and then they pull out the ring stairs and kind of set them up on the outside, off to the side. And then we also have Chuck Taylor decides to set up this pyramid of folding chairs, but unfortunately he ends up taking the bump through the folding chairs when Santana, I believe it was, threw him off of the staging into the pile. So he crashes to the floor, and that is actually, finally we get a couple of the guys in the ring so we can actually start the match. There was also one move here where Chucky T was like whipped into the barricade, but he like sped up the closer he got to the barricade instead of like being at full speed out of the whip. It was really strange. Like he was like lazily went in out of the whip and is like, oh, I guess I'll just kind of mosey on over to here and throw myself into these barricades. So it was a little a little wishy-washy there. We have Trent hitting his half of the strong zero, but he ends up Ortiz ends up kicking out of that, and Santana then sends Chuck Taylor out into the crowd. And then Santana, actually, he grabs a retractable steel baton from under the ring, and he hits Trent in the back with it. And then they hit Street Sweeper on him for the 3 count. Really, actually, a little funny thing here was when the ref was talking to Santana and Ortiz, and he thought he might have seen something out of the corner of his eye, and Santana was saying, no, it was just an elbow. It was just an elbow. And even though it was actually the baton, this match was fun. Really, this whole show, it gets summed up with, it was fine. This was not a blowaway show at all. This match was fine. Nothing huge, but it seemed directionless, I guess. It's kind of a strange feud we're dealing with right here. It didn't feel like it felt like they were going through the motions on this match more than anything else. So it was, that's just kind of what it felt like, is just them going through the motions. Next up, we have in the backstage, MJF is talking to Wardlow, and Wardlow is talking about how the lawyer Mark Sterling is like freaking out in the locker room. MJF is like, if you're either going out there or you're going in an effing wood chipper, and so they basically have to force Mark Sterling to be in the match tonight. Next up, we have the 8-man tag. It's SCU, so it's Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Private Party versus the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. The winner of this match, the teams, since they're teams, are going to face each other at All Out. And it's kind of an important match at All Out because basically this would start moving some of these people higher up the rankings, because I believe Jurassic Express, Young Bucks, and I'm not sure about Private Party if they are on the rankings or not, but it would definitely help them to win a match at All Out. So this match actually starts off pretty good. Jungle Boy and Frankie Kazarian look really good. They do a bunch of chain wrestling, and then we have Matt getting tagged in from the Young Bucks and Mark Quinn, and they work each other for a little bit. And here's where it gets kind of interesting, as Matt is going to so him and Matt and Nick exchange tags. They tag in and out a couple of times, and then there's one point where Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus have their hands out, and Matt Jackson refuses to tag them in and tags in Nick once again. Actually, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this match was on the way out to the ring, the Young Bucks just kind of trudged their way down to the ring. They didn't do their pose on the stage or anything. They just got into the ring. They're wrestling mad here because of what happened last week. So they kind of had some really aggressive, almost heelish tactics in this, and this little glimpse in this match is what is making me think that it might be the entire Elite that turns heel, and not just Kenny Omega or Hangman Page, whichever way it goes. I think it's actually going to be Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are all going to turn heel. At least that is my prediction at this point. Not sure how it's going to go down or how it's going to work, but it's my current feeling. Just how the Young Bucks were acting during this match. We have a lot of back and forth throughout this match, and it was really good to see everybody looking really good. Everybody was in their places. In the end, though, we have Mark Quinn is the last man in the ring, and the Bucks win it with the BTE trigger, and they get the 3 count here. So it is going to be the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express at All Out. It'll be interesting to see how this ends up going down at All Out. I assume the Young Bucks are going to pick up the win, but how they wrestle at All Out, I think, is the question we need to be asking ourselves and being on the lookout for, because that might give us a little bit more of a clue of where they're going, or if we even see them somehow get back at Hangman Page during the tag match for the titles with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus FTR. That could be interesting, but I don't know if the Young Bucks would want to screw with Hangman while he's on a team with Kenny Omega. I guess we will have to find out on Saturday. Next up, we have a quick little thing where Orange Cassidy is just kind of sitting in the back in a locker room. Jake Hager comes in, he sits down next to him and says that Jericho wants Orange Cassidy at ringside, and if he knows what's good for him, he will be ringside. Then we have a very old school, get to the point and get out the who, what, why, where, and when of the whole thing promo from Tully Blanchard and FTR. Blanchard is talking about how, FTR won the gauntlet last week and that they are going for the gold on Saturday. And they say Saturday quite often, over and over. So this is definitely like your really old school, be there on Sunday, that type of deal. So we have them talking about the next goal for FTW is winning the AEW Tag Titles. And then Cash talks about how it's the most important match of their careers. Dax says that this is how they are going to get even higher paychecks in AEW and by winning this match. So very interesting to see. They're all throwing up kind of a 3 hand gesture. They're actually like doing the 4 but pulling down their ring finger. So they're sticking up their pinky, middle, and index finger. Interesting that they're going this way. Obviously, we've had plenty of the teases of the 4 horsemen, and here we have them holding up kind of their own little version of a 3. Is that more red herring? Is the entire thing with a 4 horsemen type stable a red herring? I'm thinking it is, and they're not going to go that way. But who knows? Is Tully going to put together a faction? Because he's still with Shawn Spears. So he's got Spears and FTR. Is he looking to pull anybody else in? Or is Shawn Spears going to get kind of more integrated into this group? Because we haven't really seen Tully, FTR, and Shawn Spears together. So where is this going? That is kind of the thing here. Then we have a Kenny Omega interview in the ring, and he's just very calm, cool, and collected. I've read some complaints, or I actually heard some complaints from various podcasters about this, and that they've always had issues with Kenny Omega's personality, him being too nonchalant about stuff, not taking stuff seriously, having the quirks that he has. I've never had a problem with Kenny Omega's personality, because that is the personality type that I like. I mean, his personality type would be the personality type of friends I have. So it could just be me that is the type of personality I like, regardless if it's a wrestler or not. So, you know, that's just my feelings on thing. Of course, there are a lot of other people that thinks he needs to be more aggressive, take things more seriously. But yeah, like I said, just kind of his personality meshes a lot more with my personality, just in real life. So I kind of gravitate towards Kenny Omega more because of his weird quirks. Because I have weird quirks, we all have weird quirks, and I don't know. I find it more endearing than anything. Not that doesn't take stuff seriously, but he puts on either it's a chill facade, or he's just chill until he needs to not be chill anymore. I've never had a problem with this type of character out of him. Anyways, he's talking about how, you know, Hangman made a mistake, and we all have to live with the choices we make. And he said that Paige is going to be at his side when they face FTR, and that they are going to defeat FTR. And then, of course, FTR comes out. They have a cooler. They also come out with Tully, and they offer Omega. They brought out some chocolate milk for him because that is his favorite. And FTR wants to hold a toast, but Omega decides to call them a bunch of dickheads and turns them down. Omega also says that you know, why don't you keep Blanchard out there at bay, and you know, make sure he doesn't mess his depends. And then Paige comes out, and he's like mad. I don't think he even said anything. I didn't write down that he said anything, but he is looking completely flummoxed and downtrodden, and he looks lost. He looks like he is directionless right now, and he looks like he is completely running through everything is in his head, and he can't get out of it. And FTR talks about how he was the one who made the decision to screw the Young Bucks, and it was not FTR that made him do it or anything like that. Omega has to hold Adam Page back and tells him, they're trying to get in your head, man. They're trying to get in your head. And then FTR grabs the titles, and everybody's kind of yelling back and forth here because Omega and Page drop the titles here when Omega's pushing him back. And then he goes to grab Hangman, goes to grab the titles from FTR, and FTR just drops the titles on the mat, and they leave. And then Page picks him up, and he puts one over his shoulder, and then he moves his arm backwards and holding the other title behind him, but he's not looking, and he's expecting Kenny Omega to take his title. And then eventually the camera pans and shows that Kenny Omega had already ducked out of the ring and he is on the outside. So we have this great visual here of Hangman Page standing alone in the ring, and it looks like even his friend doesn't want anything to do with him, just given how he's been acting and what he did to the Young Bucks. So this might be another thing where it could be revealing that Omega and the Bucks may be turning heel at some point. Also, for those who did not see BTE, right at the end of the episode, Kenny Omega was getting into his vehicle, and he puts on the aviator glasses, very reminiscent of his cleaner persona that he had in New Japan. So also I heard, I'm actually going to check it right now, that Kenny Omega is actually listed as as the cleaner underneath his name on AEW's roster website. So I just check it. I'm looking at it right now. It says Executive Vice President, AEW World Tag Team Champion, Kenny Omega, the cleaner. So very interesting. They are dropping this in here now that we have the cleaner on his official photo on the roster page. So very interesting, and it looks like they are heading down that road. So just another little tease here as well. So this has been a great long slow burn, and maybe here is where we really see that persona come out, and we kind of get the Kenny Omega of old, the Kenny Omega of New Japan that we're all hoping for when it comes to AEW. Obviously, it does need to be a little different because AEW, being an American wrestling company, does rely a bit more on kind of the sports entertainment-y stuff. More promos, more vignettes and segments and whatnot. Very different from New Japan, where you might have kind of the backstage press conference type promos, and that's about it, and maybe an in-ring promo at the end of a show. But here in America, a little bit different. You definitely run a bit more on the storyline and heavier on the promo, vignette, and video package type of deal in the US. So even if he drags out the cleaner, it's still going to be, it's going to be slightly different than New Japan, but that is perfectly fine. But him getting a bit more aggressive and bringing kind of that throw caution to the wind Kenny Omega that we're looking for, I think that would be a great thing to see. Now that we're coming up on a year in on Dynamite. We got 29 days, and it'll be a year since Dynamite started. So should be interesting. Next up, we have a quick segment with Chris Jericho being interviewed by Alex Marvez. and he's just putting over the Mimosa Mayhem match. Again, them pimping out All Out. We basically get something to deal with every match that has been announced for the card on All Out. So we have him talking about that his 14-week rivalry with Orange Cassidy will be coming to an end, and how he made Cassidy a main event star now, but he says that Cassidy isn't on his level, and he's going to drown Cassidy's dreams in the vat of mimosa, and then he basically says that he's going to tear apart Joey Janela in their match tonight. So next up we do have the match of Chris Jericho with Jake Hager at ringside versus Joey Janela. Orange Cassidy comes out to watch the match, and basically this is a squash match. Jericho basically squashed Joey Janela. Joey Janela got next to nothing, and then we have Joey Janela goes for a springboard dive back into the ring from the outside. Jericho hits him with this awesome code breaker and then puts on the walls of Jericho, and Joey Janela has to submit. Very interesting that I forgot until right now that Jericho in his promo with Alex Marvez actually referred to it as the Walls of Jericho. I do not think he owns the name, and I believe it is trademarked by WWE, so I'm not sure if it was a slip or if there's going to be an issue with him using the words on commentary. I'm pretty sure they do not call it the Walls of Jericho, because I'm pretty sure that WWE holds that trademark. So interesting that Jericho would say it. I'm guessing that Backstage was not a pre-tape and they just did it live. So little oopsies on Jericho's part right there. After the match, though, Jericho continues to beat down Joey Janela, hits him with a bunch of strikes. He removes the turnbuckle pad, and then Joey Janela takes a bump into the turnbuckle pad head first. And here we have Joey Janela gigged here at some point, so now he's bleeding, and Jericho beats on him, and he wipes the blood all over his shirt that he's wearing, and it's an Orange Cassidy shirt. And then we have Cassidy running down to the ring. We have Jake Hager getting involved, and then we had Sonny Kiss coming out as well. And Cassidy hits Jericho with this great swinging DDT, and right before he's going to hit a Superman punch on Jericho, Jake Hager pulls him out of the ring. Cassidy has a backpack with him. He takes out a little bit of the bubbly, pops the top. He holds it up in the air and gives his weak thumbs up, and then turns it to a thumbs down and turns over the bottle of bubbly and pours it out. So that pretty much finishes that as kind of the go home segment for this match going into this weekend. Then we have a video package covering the Matt Hardy and Sami Guevara feud. In the split screen, we have Sami Guevara doing his regular signs, and Matt Hardy does as well. Nothing overly important that they said. Then we have what I think was the cluster of the show. This segment went off the rails very quickly, and I don't think it really did anybody any favors. Very similar to last week, we have Team Taz making their way out to the ring, and then while they're talking about how one of them are going to win the Casino Battle Royal, we have Jake Roberts and Lance Archer coming out, and they yell back and forth. And again, Jake Roberts is playing a little fast and loose here, and I'm not sure how smart it is to give him a microphone on live TV anymore, because he's gone off the rails 2 weeks in a row now. And then while they're all jaw-jacking, Eddie Kingston comes out with the Lucha Bros and Butcher and Blade, and he says that none of them are going to win, and nobody's as tough as the guys he has with him. Everybody all starts arguing, and then it all breaks out into a brawl. And then we have Ricky Starks and Brian Cage and Butcher and Blade and Lucha Bros and Lance Archer, and then I believe, did Darby Allin come out at any? I don't think. Yeah. Darby Allin came out at one point. Santana and Ortiz then come out with Jake Hager. They join in. Best Friends come out. And they brawled through the entire commercial break. They come back. They're still brawling. And some of this is just looking horrid. Like there's no passion behind it. It's just a cluster and a half. I believe this segment was kind of pointless and way over the top, and I don't think it really did anything to make the Casino Battle Royale any bigger. If anything, it kind of made it look kind of amateur. Because this is very WWE, WCW type of deal here. Just a big brawl that just went on forever. I mean, it went through an entire commercial break. I'm not sure if it was in split screen, but I was watching it on Fight, and they showed the entire thing. And yeah, it just didn't work. And again, Taz going back and forth with Jake Roberts on the mic just doesn't work, because either Jake goes way off script, or Taz goes way off script, or I'm thinking it's Jake goes way off script and Taz tries to pull it back, but Jake just continues to go on and doesn't actually respond to anything Taz says. Yeah, it just, the two of them on the mics going back and forth just not doesn't work. They just end up talking over each other and it goes nowhere. So let's try not to have this happen again, but it just fell apart. Definitely the low point of the show was right here. Next up, we have a video package for the Dark Order. Basically just a review of everything that they have been doing in AEW for the past few weeks, kind of building up their power here. You know, they've recruited in Colt Cabana. We have Brodie Lee. He has won the TNT Championship. I believe they might even thrown a couple clips from some BTE segments in there as well, but kind of cut out more of the funny stuff that happened on BTE. Actually, they were on BTE this week too, and again, they continue to be kind of the highlight of BTE every week. The show started with Brodie Lee sitting on one of the lawnmowers that he had, and they're all saying F Hangman, F Hangman. So that was pretty funny. Going back to, for those who didn't know, so that lawnmower thing, I refigured out what it was all about. So the lawnmower thing was, there was a bit where the Bucks and Hangman and Kenny wanted to get a sponsorship with Chili's, so they were singing the Chili's Baby Back Rib song. And then in storyline of BTE, it's actually the Dark Order that got the sponsorship. And so when the Elite were trying to get the sponsorship, Hangman was like, I'm gonna buy myself a new riding lawnmower when we get this sponsorship. So that's what the whole buying a bunch of lawnmowers was about, to throw it back in his face because they got the Chili's sponsorship instead. I'm pretty sure they did not get a real Chili's sponsorship, but that was what it was all about. Brodie Lee decided he was going to buy 6 riding lawnmowers, even though he doesn't have a lawn to mow. So I thought that was pretty funny. So that covers that. We have the in-ring debut of Thunder Rosa, also against the in-ring debut of Serena Deeb. She was a coach over in NXT for quite some time, and she was released back in the mass exodus of people back in April from WWE. This match, interesting that they decided to go this route, because this was actually a very competitive match, and I thought this was probably one of the best women's matches that they've had. Thunder Rosa was very good, and Serena Deeb, she was excellent in this. They both were laying everything in, nice hard strikes, probably a lot more variety of moves in this women's match that I've seen for quite some time in AEW. Thunder Rosa put Serena up in a tree of woe and hit her with this wicked running drop kick right to the stomach. Like she like crushed her right in the stomach, and there's another drop kick later on that she just completely took her out. They go back and forth for actually quite some time. I didn't get a time on this, but they went through an entire commercial break plus quite a while, so this match probably went almost 10 minutes. Solid match, especially both of them looking really good, but very interesting that they go this way. And then we have Thunder Rosa picking up the victory with the Thunder Driver. But as far as this, very interesting that they go to a very competitive match with Thunder Rosa instead of a squash where she just completely lays somebody out. So, building up Thunder Rosa with basically 1 week of television, I probably wouldn't have gone this way. I enjoyed the match as far as building Thunder Rosa. I don't think it worked as well, because I think you needed her to completely destroy somebody, and not just destroy somebody we don't know. I might have even sacrificed a Penelope. Have her just destroy Penelope Ford in like 2 minutes or something like that. I don't really want to sacrifice Penelope, but I don't know who else would be good to sacrifice that we've come to know, because I think you'd want Thunder Rosa to just completely plow through somebody and make her seem like much more of a threat to Hikaru Shida's title. I just don't think it worked here. I love the match. I hope both of them are regulars with AEW. I think they would definitely elevate the women's division, especially having Serena Deeb around, because she, like I said, was a coach in NXT, and she can really help the ladies in AEW who are a lot greener than we see over in other promotions, and hopefully she can help bring these ladies along faster and to help out Dustin, who's basically the sole trainer when they get in there. So maybe she can work with QT Marshall, and they can have the ladies kind of camp out around his school and get some reps in and stuff like that. But I think it'll be a great pickup if they do in fact sign her long term, or even if she doesn't even wrestle in the ring, she's just a good person to have around to help with the women's division. Next up, we have Jon Moxley backstage, and he basically just cuts a promo on MJF, and that MJF is not ready to become the AEW heavyweight champion, and MJF has had it easy up till now, and he hasn't really faced any difficulties, and he's basically going to run into a brick wall at All Out. Then we have Tony Schiavone is going to interview Big Swole. Big Swole says that Britt Baker has been ducking her for quite a while now, and that they'll have no place to hide at All Out. They're actually doing a tooth and nail match, and I'll talk about that in a second. But then we have a pizza delivery person coming up to her, and of course, it is Rebel. She has a face mask on, so you can't see it's her, but it was obviously her if you know her voice. And then Britt Baker attacks from behind with a crutch, and then they smash Big Swole's face into the pizza. And then we have Britt Baker putting on the lockjaw onto Big Swole, and that was the end of that segment. So they're going to have a tooth and nail match, and it's actually going to be a cinematic match at Britt Baker's dental office. So this should be interesting to see how this goes down. It's actually probably a smart move to do it this way with Britt Baker. I don't know how long she's actually been cleared to train and all that fun stuff. But if she has not been in the ring really at all since her injuries, it's probably best to do a match like this because they can stop when they need to. They can cut out stuff that just doesn't work, and she doesn't have to pull off a match when she will probably have quite a lot of ring rust, and they can kind of protect her body at the moment. Well, I'm sure she's doing fine. I mean, really, they said the injury wasn't actually going to be nearly as long as she has been out, so she's probably been training for quite a while now. But I don't know how much like ring time she's had while she's been on the injured list. Then we have Wardlow coming out to the ring, and he's like pushing Mark Sterling out to the ring so make sure he gets to the match with Jon Moxley. He is just completely decked out and basically it looks like he's ready for a hockey match. So he's ready for a hockey game, and he's completely padded up from like head to toe. It is pretty funny. We have Jon Moxley making his way out to the ring, and he starts off just by causing Mark Sterling to flinch. He gives him free shots, and it just doesn't work out. He turns his back to Mark Sterling at once. Sterling charges, and Moxley just steps to the side, and Sterling goes flying out the ropes. We also have Sterling actually poking him in the eye, and then Moxley nails Sterling with a clothesline, and then he follows him outside of the ring, throws him into the barricade. He buries him under a barricade and just is throwing chairs on top of him. He drags him back to the ring, and I believe he said something along the lines of, "This is just horrible television." And so he just finishes him off, hits a paradigm shift, and calls it a day there. So basically Moxley just toyed with Mark Sterling for like 5 minutes or something, and he actually even took his shoe off at one point and started beating Mark Sterling with his own shoe, which was pretty funny. But after the match, we have Wardlow getting into the ring. He attacks Jon Moxley from behind, hits him with a couple F10s, and then MJF comes out with his walker, but then he just tosses it down, and he takes off the neck brace, and MJF has been playing this whole time. I think it's been pretty obvious. I believe even JR has alluded to it a couple times. And then, of course, here he's like, "Oh, did you guys think he was really hurt? He was playing this the whole time." So I thought that was pretty funny with JR being a little crotchety. But, you know, that's JR. I mean, that's what they pay him to do. They pay him to be a little bit crotchety at times. So we have MJF coming down to the ring, and he strikes Moxley a bunch of times, MJF puts on the Dynamite diamond ring and then punches Moxley in the head. And then we have a bloody Moxley. His head is covered, so he gigged as well. So very interesting. We have two of kind of the same thing. We have Jericho beating the crap out of Joey Janela after the match, and Joey Janela bleeding. And then here we have, after the match, Jon Moxley, although he won his match, getting beaten down and getting bloody as well. MJF is punching him, and he's like standing over him, and actually it was hard to catch, but Jon Moxley said, "Go effing nuts." So you can hear the vet giving a little bit of direction to the younger wrestler, and we have MJF. He gets back down. He starts laying in strikes. He bites Jon Moxley's head. He takes the blood of Jon Moxley and smears it all over his own face, and then he poses with the AEW title belt to close out the show. So very interesting ending to the show. Are they doing the typical well, I guess it's a little different, because I'm still thinking Jon Moxley is going to win the match at All Out. I mean, it really makes sense. Really, I don't think MJF is ready to be AEW champion. He has so many years ahead of him in this business, and I just don't think he's ready. I just don't think he's at the level to do it. Not that he would, I don't think he'd make a bad champion, but I think right now Jon Moxley continuing to hold it is the best decision. How MJF ends up losing is going to be a very interesting question. It's also brought up that these two, Moxley and MJF, neither of them have been pinned in AEW in a singles match. So this is very interesting. Jon Moxley is undefeated this year. MJF is undefeated in AEW. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how this goes down and what they decide to do. So are they doing the old reverse psychology here, where we have MJF standing tall on the go home and then Jon Moxley beating him at the pay-per-view? But is it really reverse psychology where, he did, attack afterwards with the help of Wardlow and all that stuff? So I wouldn't call it your typical WWE booking, if you will. I think this is probably the right way to go with the go-home show. But all in all, for this show, a lot of people, I'm going to have to agree with them. This is definitely not the strongest AEW show. It was not a bad show. It was fine. It wasn't good or great. It was in the middle. It was perfectly serviceable. But it definitely was not at the level of you'd hope. Again, they had fans in the stands here. They had roughly 550 fans. And I think, again, they needed to mic the fans a lot more. The last week, the fans just were not loud enough in the audio mix. And again, they were not. They definitely need to point the microphones directly at the fans. They're putting them all in the upper deck, away from the wrestlers. So I think Daily's Place basically has three levels. They have like the floor and the lower bowl, which you see right there. You have the floor and it goes right up the stairs right there. And then I believe it has two more levels after that. And all the fans have been put in the second and third level. And they're obviously much farther away from the ring where all the cameras are, which have microphones on all the cameras. But I think they need to specifically mic the crowd. They're just not coming through. They're not cutting through the mix. And it's as simple as that. I think they just need to mic the crowd more. and I think they would be fine. There were reports last week that the crowd was way quieter on TV than they were in person. So I think it's just a consequence of the shape of the building, that they have no fans down in the lower section or on the floor where all the mics that are down on the floor would pick up their audio. They're going to have to specifically point microphones at those upper decks where the people are there. Since they are in an outside arena, they don't have the sound, and it's an amphitheater. So the thing is, with the amphitheater, all the sound's supposed to be coming out from the stage to the audience. That's how it's designed. So getting the sound from the audience down to the stage is not how amphitheaters are designed. So they just need to mic it better, and they should be able to get more crowd noise. They just need to make sure to prioritize putting some microphones up there to better capture it. That's really it. Like I said, the amphitheater is meant to have sound come out from the stage, not go into the stage. So just it's a simple fix. I don't know why they didn't do it this week when they had the same issue last week. So hopefully they fix it for Double or Nothing. It looks like they're going to try to get a few more people in, roughly 600 to 700 people in for Double or Nothing this weekend. Just because of how they've been doing it. They've been figuring out how to do their seating charts and all that. So they've made a little bit more space. So should be interesting, but I hope they mic it up. As far as ratings go, Dynamite averaged 928,000 viewers, so that is the highest number going all the way back to, I believe, February. So really good numbers here, going unopposed. So, you know, a lot of people have been talking about how NXT should just move to Tuesday because they did pretty good this week. They did a big increase over what they normally do when AEW is running opposite of them. And right here we have 928,000 for a show that wasn't even that great comparatively to other shows. So, you know, AEW could be hitting 1 million if they were not running with competition on the other channel. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't think the whole reason WWE put NXT on Wednesday on TV is because of AEW. So they're not going to cave and say that probably wasn't a good idea, because even though they, you know, haven't been doing the best against AEW and they only win once in a while. I don't know. We'll see. But all in all, great rating this week. The 18 to 49 was up 25% or 24% from last week. So, and that was their highest number in that demo since January 15th. So basically the highest all year, going all the way back. So this is like, you know, a pre-pandemic number. Obviously, I mean, it's pretty much one of the highest numbers. It's the fourth highest number of 2020. So doing pretty good, I think. So we'll see how this continues to roll on. So looking forward to how the show plays out this week for All Out this weekend. We will be doing a post show on Sunday. I don't know the exact time just yet. We haven't really figured that out yet. But actually, why don't I bring this up, because I don't even have it. So AEW All Out. I don't even know what the card is right now. So that's the I should probably know that, right? All right, so let's see the card here. We have Big Swole and Britt Baker. They will be doing the tooth and nail match. That is actually going to be on the pre-show, so I'm wondering how that's actually going to play out. We also have the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. I'm guessing the Young Bucks are going to go over there. We have Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara in a broken match, and if Matt Hardy loses, he says he will leave AEW. We have the Dark Order versus Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and Dustin Rhodes. So this came out. Oh, there was I forgot about this promo segment. I guess I didn't write it down. There was a promo segment from the Nightmare family, basically talking about. Oh, that was in the Dark Order segment. I just kind of wrote down the Dark Order. That was within the Dark Order video package where they had Dustin talking about, what they did to Cody and Brandy, and that he's going to get payback and all that fun stuff. So that is where that match came out of. So we will see how that goes. We have the Casino Battle Royale, and the winner of the match will get a title shot at the AEW Heavyweight Champion. And right now we have Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Pentagon, Phoenix, Butcher, Blade, Kingston, Sean Spears, Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, Jake Hager, Santana, Ortiz, Chuck Taylor, Trent, and to be determined. So I'm curious what surprise entrance we might see. I'm kind of hoping it's Miro, because that would be awesome. The former Rusev, though I almost kind of want him to go to New Japan and do the G1 this year first and then come to AEW. I think that would be awesome, but I don't know. Other than that, I have no idea who is going to be the fill-in here. We also have the Mimosa Mayhem match. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Only way to win. Well, it's not really the only way. It's typical pinfall, submission, or getting tossed into a vat of mimosa. We also have the AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa. And then we have Omega and Hangman Page defending the AEW Tag Team Championship against FTR. And then we have Jon Moxley and MJF for the AEW World Championship, and Jon Moxley is prohibited from using the Paradigm Shift. So should be an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to it this year. And yeah, this will be coming up. This show that we'll be doing on Sunday will be 1 year of That's Wrestling. So thanks for everybody who's tuned in throughout this year, and we will continue on. Hopefully we all get back on to a schedule here. We've had some disruptions with various life events from other co-hosts and whatnot. It's perfectly fine. So hopefully I won't have to go solo again, but we will see. I'm not sure who's going to be on the show on Sunday. I'm hoping to have David back and with Justin. So hopefully it'll be the three of us for the AEW All Out post show. So thanks a lot for watching and listening, everybody. If you are listening to it as a podcast, please head over to the YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes, because we do this show live and you can come hang out in the chat. If you have any mailbag questions, send them to Eric at thatswrestling.com. And I'm still looking for some people to help out with New Japan stuff. So if you would like to be a New Japan co-host, send me an email, Eric at thatswrestling.com. There's a Discord in the show notes and description, so you can come hang out with us there. I'm in there pretty much all the time. It just goes right to my phone, so you put something in there, I see it. And that is about it, I think. So, head over to iTunes and give us a review if you haven't, because it would really help us out to bump up our search results. So thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a really fun year. I think this is about episode 68 or 9 or 70. 68, 69, or 70, somewhere around that. So it's been a fun year, and looking forward to this next year of AEW and New Japan coming up. So thanks for watching and listening, everybody. I'll see you next time. That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.